Professor Vogel, a man who clearly owned more lab coats than friends, fiddled with his latest invention. Imagine a blender crossed with a radio with a dash of tin foil. That was his talking animal machine. Why anyone would want to know what animals thought was beyond most people, not Vogel. He just wanted to know how it worked. He dreamt of awards, recognition, maybe even a documentary about his life. Professor Vogel, he talked to the animals. Catchy, right? Yeah, he'd work on the title. First he needed results.
So he popped open a sausage, hoping to entice his test subject. Franz, his sausage-obsessed dachshund.
Franz, to be fair, wasn't stupid. He was just very, very motivated by food. He'd once eaten an entire birthday cake, candles included. Vogel often wondered if the dog was smarter than he let on. Turns out Franz was. He just hadn't bothered sharing his thoughts until now. Vogel pointed the machine at Franz, who was eyeing the sausage with laser-like focus. A crackle, a pop, and then a voice boomed.
About bloody time? Thought you'd never share, you stingy old git.
Vogel nearly choked on his pretzel. The machine worked. Also, his dog was incredibly rude. The first week was a whirlwind. Vogel, high on success and maybe too much sausage pizza, took his machine everywhere. He eavesdropped on pigeons in the park, chatted with the grumpy cat next door, even tried to have a philosophical debate with a squirrel. It mostly involved nuts.
Another day, another statue to poop on? You'd think they'd learn to appreciate modern art.
Vogel, frantically scribbling notes, felt a strange kinship with these feathered cynics. Mittens, the sleek black cat from next door, was another story. This feline was all about appearances.
Does this fur make me look fat?
She'd meow, staring at her reflection in a car window. Vogel started carrying lint rollers, just in case. Franz, meanwhile, had become unbearable. Knowing his thoughts was one thing, hearing him constantly comment on Vogel's snack choices, fashion sense, or lack thereof, and taste in documentaries was another.
Seriously, another documentary about penguins? Get a life, Vogel.
The pigeons, Vogel discovered, were the ultimate city dwellers. They knew everything about everyone. They gossiped about the old lady who always fed them stale bread.
Bless her heart, she means well.
They grumbled about the noisy children.
Can't they just stare at screens like normal kids?
And even seemed to have an opinion on local politics.
More pigeon-friendly parks. Vote feathers for mayor.
One afternoon, Vogel found himself sitting on a bench surrounded by pigeons, listening to their surprisingly insightful observations about the city. They complained about the lack of green spaces, the air pollution, and the rising cost of birdseed. Vogel realized that beneath their sarcastic exteriors, these birds were astute social commentators. He began to record their conversations, transcribing their thoughts into a journal. It was a unique perspective on urban life, filtered through the minds of its feathered residents. Vogel even started to see the city through their eyes, noticing the little details he'd previously overlooked. Mittens, the black cat, was the epitome of feline vanity. Her days revolved around napping, grooming, and judging the fashion choices of others. She had a particular disdain for dogs, especially Franz.
Honestly, that creature calls himself a dog, with those stubby legs and that sausage obsession.
She'd sniffed, meticulously licking her paw. Vogel, initially amused, found himself drawn into Mittens' world of feline fashion. He learned about the subtle differences in fur textures, the importance of a good nap spot, preferably sun-drenched, and the eternal struggle to keep one's tail free of dust bunnies. He even found himself buying Mittens a fancy collar with a tiny bell, much to Franz's disgust.
Seriously? You're buying her jewelry? She judges your every move and you reward her?
Franz grumbled, his tail thumping angrily against the floor.
Franz, despite knowing his thoughts were no longer private, continued to rule the household with an iron paw.
He knew Vogel wouldn't resist his puppy dog eyes, even when he was demanding extra treats.
Just one more sausage for my research, he'd plead, his big brown eyes wide and innocent.
He treated the talking animal machine as his personal soapbox, sharing his unfiltered opinions on everything from the quality of dog food.
Could they at least add some flavor? Paprika, perhaps?
To Vogel's taste in music.
Seriously? Polka again? My ears are bleeding.
Vogel, though often exasperated, couldn't help but admire Franz's audacity. The dog was a master manipulator, using his cuteness and his newfound voice to get what he wanted. And what Franz wanted usually involved sausages.
More sausages!
Section 6. Scientific chaos proving the unprovable. Back in the lab, chaos reigned. Imagine a zoo crossed with a library after a particularly messy break-in. Papers everywhere, animal noises, and Dr. Muller in the middle trying to make sense of it all. He had to prove his invention worked.
But how do you get a sarcastic pigeon to sign a release form?
He tried explaining the concept of scientific breakthroughs to Princess Whiskers, who yawned and groomed her tail. He attempted to engage Rex in an intellectual discussion about the ethical implications of his invention.
Is the sausage delivery guy on his way?
He needed proof, hard evidence, but the scientific community, much like a herd of startled cats, was skeptical.
Animals talking preposterous.
They scoffed. Dr. Muller, clutching his journal filled with pigeon poetry and cat couture critiques, was starting to doubt himself. Section 7. The world reacts, doubters, believers, and cat video enthusiasts. The news, like a flock of startled pigeons, spread quickly.
Mad scientist claims animals talk,
Screamed the headlines. The internet, being the internet, exploded. Conspiracy theorists saw it as proof of alien communication. Pet psychics were outraged. Cat video enthusiasts rejoiced. Dr. Muller became an overnight sensation. Talk shows clamored for him. Reporters camped outside his door, and his inbox was flooded with emails from people who wanted to talk to their goldfish. He even got a sponsorship offer from a major pet food company.
because even your pet has an opinion.
Through it all, Dr. Muller remained surprisingly grounded. He knew he had stumbled onto something extraordinary, but he also knew the truth was far stranger than anyone could imagine, and it all involved a lot more animal poop than he had anticipated. Section 8. A moment of truth. Can humans handle the truth? Then came the day that changed everything. Dr. Muller, invited to speak at a prestigious scientific conference, decided to let the animals speak for themselves. He set up his machines surrounded by cameras and skeptical scientists. The room buzzed with anticipation.
First, the pigeons. Their usual sarcasm was replaced with an impassioned plea for environmental awareness.
Then, Princess Whiskers, her sleek fur gleaming under the stage lights, delivered a surprisingly profound message about self-acceptance and the importance of being comfortable in your own skin or fur.
Finally, Franz. The room held its breath as the sausage-loving dachshund ambled onto the stage.
Look, I know you humans think you're special, but trust me, we all just want the same things. Good food, a comfortable place to sleep, and someone to scratch behind the ears.
Section 9. Epilogue. The future of interspecies communication, maybe. The world, much like a cat presented with a laser pointer, didn't quite know what to make of it all. Some were amazed, others were terrified. The scientific community remained divided. But one thing was clear. Dr. Muller had opened a door to a world where animals could finally make their voices heard. Whether humanity was ready to listen, well, that was another story.
In the meantime, I continued my research, albeit with a newfound respect for my furry and feathered friends. I even started ordering Franz gourmet sausages. After all, even geniuses have to eat.
And as for the animals, they continued to live their lives, their thoughts no longer a secret. The pigeons kept on gossiping, Princess Whiskers kept on judging, and Franz, well, he kept on eating sausages. Some things, it seems, never change.